and played. I was a two-sport guy. Played
Mm-hmm.
basketball and football in high school.
That's
Uh,
right.
Mm-hmm.
I saw on one of your casts that you had Rick Stockstill, Coach
That's right,
Stockton,
Yes,
man.
sir.
right?
Yes, sir.
Small world.
Stop.
His dad coached me in high school for 2 years.
Whoa.
Yeah,
Everybody,
Rick.
everybody on this show's connected somehow, some way. It just
Exactly.
happened. It just happened. And
Exactly.
every
Yeah.
Dang.
episode.
Rick's dad
Yes.
coached me for 2 years in high school. And Rick had a brother, I'm sure you guys know, Jeff,
Okay.
Okay.
who played at Ferndale Beach High School, who also played at Clemson. Went
All
to
Okay.
right.
Clemson as a quarterback, and he was a wide receiver on the national championship team in '81, the first national championship team.
Ooh,
Okay.
big
So
time.
that's where I grew up and excelled. Came to Clemson right after national championship year, and from there uh, went to San Francisco in the first round, and was fortunate, blessed to be a part of two Super Bowl teams,
Wow.
coached by legendary Bill Walsh, and
That's
played with
right.
some of the all-time greats in the game. So I was very fortunate.
Cool. So, go ahead, KJ.
Yes. Yeah. So what age you started playing football, man? That's what we want to know.
Yes, sir. Most
Uh,
definitely.
Organized football, because we
Yeah.
all started in the
Oh yeah,
backyard,
Yeah.
or backyard,
I, I first started playing Pop Warner. So I think
Okay.
I was in the fourth grade.
Forward.
I
Oh
was in the
man.
fourth grade when I started playing.
And you
Started
started playing
playing
running back?
at Elm Street Recreation Center.
Okay.
Okay.
To this day, still the hardest practices I've ever had in my life.
Wow.
Man, look,
What?
Tell us
hey,
about that.
listen,
Got to.
the things they did to us then would be child abuse now, man.
What?
It was crazy. We used to practice. I tell people this story. Sometimes they don't believe it, but the guys from Fernandina know it's true to play at Elm Street. They would have 12 of us in a line, and they would get these truck tires, and we would have to push the truck tires like 20 yards and back, and it would be 12. So if you was that last six, you would be in the line that they call the beef, and the first six would be the butchers.
Okay.
We would line up about 10 yards from each other, the butchers and the beef, and the beef would be the dummies. You had to stand there and not move. And the butchers, we would run full speed and light you up and tackle you because we didn't have. Hey, you should have seen the guys, man. We would be angling,
Oh,
trying to get those truck tires that didn't have much tread, right?
yeah.
Hey, because nobody wanted to be in the wrong line, man. You don't want to be in the beef. So
Nah.
hey, that was my introduction to football. So
Wow.
talking about finding out early if you really like it, if you love it. You know? Hey, the butchers and the beef, bro. That's where it started, man.
Man.
So hey, you started playing running back at the time, or what? What position you was playing?
Actually, my first position, I played wide receiver,
Wow.
and then
That's
I
what's up.
started playing running back,
Okay.
Oh,
and that
okay.
helped me because I was able to be comfortable running routes coming out of the backfield. I always felt like if you tried to cover me with a linebacker, it would be a mismatch. So
Yep. There you
that's
That's
go.
where
right.
that started.
There you go. Yes,
Right.
Um,
sir. So, what type of offense did you play in high school?
when I was in high school, playing for Coach Stockstill, my first 2 years, because back then high school was 10th through 12th. So I'm dating myself now, right? But so
That's all
we
good.
we
You
were
don't look
pretty
like
much eye oriented offense, and it was pro style. My senior year, we had a different coach, and now coach came in, Coach Braddock, who was a Dallas Cowboy fan, and so our offense mirrored Dallas. Everything from the shifting to the motions, and how we use the backs in the passing game.
okay.
So that's the offense we played in high school. Then of course playing for Danny Ford, the legendary Danny Ford, Bear Bryant disciple. Wasn't much passing going on. back then.
No, not then, dog.
No,
Nah.
man. I think Coach Ford may have, he didn't care much for passing. So we lined up and came at you, told everybody we was coming, told you where we was going, and it was up to you to stop it. That was how we rolled back then.
Wow.
Sir.
Yeah. So back in high school, man, you had like 20 touchdowns your senior year, man. That's
Right.
pretty impressive. Yeah, man. Yeah. And then you scored 7 touchdowns in one game.
Right.
What?
Yeah, the coach we had that came in my senior year was from our crosstown rival. So he had an axe to grind with his people from crosstown. So brief background, my senior year, we had the #1 offense in our conference, one of the best in the area. I was the leading rusher in the conference, and I led the conference in average per carry at 9 yards a clip. And our fullback was second in the conference in yards per carry at close to 7. And our wide receiver led the conference in average per catch at 20. So we were pretty explosive. We can get you in chunks. Yeah, so that game we played West Nassau. Coach asked me before the game, he said, well, how many times can you carry it? And I just told him, I said, well, how many times you gonna give it to me? So
yeah, what's up now?
So at the end of the game, I ended up I finished up with 34 carries for 408 yards, and I had 2 carries that were both touchdowns for runs that was over 50 yards called back. So I was kind of upset about that too, because I could have set it out there,
But on the sideline tired for no reason. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I was gonna go ahead, KJ.
Yeah, I heard you was a good basketball.
Yes, I had a pretty good hoops game, man. I was the only player in my school's conference that led scoring in basketball and football 2 consecutive years.
Yes.
Yeah. So I averaged I think it was 23 my junior year, and I was right at 25 my senior. I wish we would have had a 3-point line then, because it could have had, a couple more points.
Yeah, that's right, man.
I could have had a couple more, because back then the first 3-point line was right below the top of the key.
Wow.
Okay.
So I mean, it was a gimme.
Yeah.
It was a gimme, man. It's top of the key.
Yeah.
I wish they played us in the zone. Yeah, that was all day long, man. That was all day.
So growing up, what teams did you like? Who was your favorite players as you were in high school? I mean, like, who were some of the players you idolized that were in the NFL or college? Yeah.
In the NFL and college, the guys I idolized and the teams I always followed at first were the teams that had running backs.
Okay.
So of course, Tony Dorsett when he was at Pitt, and then when he went to Dallas, right?
Okay.
In college, Marcus Allen with the Raiders.
Yeah, more definitely.
Allen, man, he was a bad boy. Growing up, always liked to watch Terry Metcalf. Okay. He was with the St. Louis Cardinals, and he was one of the first guys I remember that was just complete all-purpose guy. Of course, Walter Payton.
Yep.
And then, back then everybody wanted to watch Buffalo and OJ. Juice was
the Juice.
Yeah, man. Things he did, I mean, a 2,000-yard season in 14 games. That was 14-game season. When there wasn't
in that word.
Yeah, and there wasn't a lot of 11 personnel. How you see now with 3 wides and 1 tight end, 1 back.
Yeah.
I mean, he and then the next year I think he came back and he missed the last 2 games of the season because of a knee injury, and he had over 1,800 yards. He was about to do it again. So, but those were the backs who were that I remember growing up that I watched and tried to mimic, tried to emulate. Of course, I had good speed, but I didn't have world-class speed.
Okay.
Like OJ. So I really and Dorsett, Tony D was something different.
Yes.
And but just their versatility, and the first guy always missed. So I I tried to, emulate that. And I was fortunate enough that I had the athletic ability to do so.
What's up?
Cool. So did you play any all-star games? Did y'all have an all-star game in that era for basketball, football?
My junior year, I had an invitation for the National AAU. I don't know if you guys remember Otis Smith that played basketball NBA with the. Okay, he and I came out the same year. We were the only two juniors in the state to have an invitation, but that was my first knee injury, so I had to miss tryouts. I had a torn cartilage, and then my senior year, I couldn't play in the AAU because Coach Ford said, "No, we need you up here." So Coach Ford put the brakes on that one, right? And in football, we had the All-Star game, but they played the All-Star game in Gainesville. Okay. And at that time, Gainesville had turf. Yeah. And I didn't want to play. I didn't like playing on turf. And it stuck out of my mind, even with recruiting. There was a running back that came out of St. Augustine High School back in the day, I think it was like 78, 77. His name was David Johnson. He was the number one running back in the state of Florida. He played in that All-Star game, and he had a non-contact knee injury, and his career was altered, never recovered. So I always remember that. When I was being recruited, I didn't want to go to a place that had turf. I was just afraid of it. But, back then, it was hard, and they had those rubber spikes, rubber pellets. And your foot didn't turn. So I really wasn't too keen on playing on turf. So I didn't play in the All-Star too. Yeah.
All that good stuff. Yeah. So you get to your recruiting process. What are some of the teams that are looking and sending letters to you?
The first two schools that started recruiting me were Clemson and Florida State. And that started when I was in the ninth grade. But I know, again, now Rick had played quarterback at Florida State. And Jeff was at Clemson. Okay. So, they had the heads up before everybody else,
That's what's up.
Right. But those were the first two schools that started. And then going into my senior year, pretty much, I was pretty heavily recruited. I was one of the top backs in the country at that time. So I'd heard from pretty much everyone.
All right, cool. Everybody.
You taking any visits?
Huh?
You take any visits?
I took visits to Clemson, Georgia, Miami, and Alabama. Okay. I pretty much narrowed it down regionally because I didn't want to go too far away from home.
That's right.
Going into my senior year in high school, my father had a heart attack.
Oh, man.
Wow. So I know I didn't want to be too far away.
Okay.
And I was familiar with Clemson, the guys there, because I'd been to camp there. And, of course, Jeff was there. There was another guy from my high school years ago that played at Clemson named O'Neal Tyler. I played with his brother. O'Neal played at Clemson in the 70s. So I was very familiar with that school. And but what got me hooked was the Georgia Clemson game.
Okay.
In Death Valley, the year Clemson won the national championship. Georgia was coming off their national championship. Wow. And that was my first time in a setting like that. It was so loud you couldn't hear the person standing next to you.
Yeah.
And it was that way the entire game.
Yeah.
And the place was electric. And the fans didn't sit down the entire game. Ooh. I had never seen anything like that. And at the time I was still 16. So that just left a big imprint. I just like, man, this is.
I want to come back to that. Yeah.
Right. This is the place. This is the atmosphere. This is the place I want to be. And it was just something different about the fans.
Yes, sir.
It seemed like it was a different closeness to it. So that stood out.
Cool. So you get in the locker room, your first day practice. Who's the first guy to embrace you, take you under their wing?
Cliff Austin,
Okay.
running back. And Jeff introduced me to everybody. He was like, it's my homeboy, so forth, so on. But Cliff Austin was going into his senior year, coming off of the national championship.
Okay.
So he embraced me, took me under his wing, introduced me to Kevin Mack and the other guys, and Homer Jordan, who I met on my recruiting trip. So I felt comfortable. I was pretty comfortable until I got on the field that first middle drill. That first middle drill, I'm looking at the defense, and it's the number one defense in the country, right? And I'm looking at William Perry, William Devane,
oh man,
big Rob Robinson, Dan Benish, Ray Brown, Johnny Rimmer at linebacker, Andy Hedden, 6'5", 240.
Man,
and triplet linebacker. I'm like, man, I've never seen guys this big in Fernandina Beach. I see this. I remember going over to the trainer, Dr. Hoover.
Yeah.
And I think Danny Poole was there. Danny Poole just started. I was like, hey, I didn't get any Tylenol inside. Can I get a couple right now? Can I get a couple? Because I knew this thing was about to be crucial, right? So
real.
I don't want to feel no pain.
Oh man, hey, Coach Ford, if it wasn't contact, it wasn't practice.
Yeah.
We used to do middle drill and goal line. I used to look at Coach Reedy. I'd be like, isn't this the same thing? Like, hey,
basically,
hey.
Like
we got 20 minutes, 25 minutes of inside run, and then come right back in 20 minutes of goal line. I'm like, wait, we just came from this, didn't we?
It was very similar.
Man, I'm telling you, but so we look forward to Saturdays because we got tired of hitting each other. Mondays, Tuesdays, and Wednesdays was all business. Especially Tuesdays and Wednesdays. Mondays would be, abbreviated late day, go in the field because of lab. And especially if you won, we did plenty of that. We love winning because we got that victory meal, right?
That's right.
Yeah, that victory meal was nice, man. So Tuesday and Wednesday, hey, man, it's time to load up and go get it.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
So how was them summer workouts though, man? Y'all you said y'all had 3 a days, man. When I was playing, we had 2 a days, and that was rough. So 3 a days? Oh, man.
Listen,
I probably find in school, man.
Hey, listen, the first 3 days of practice each year were 3 a days.
Wow.
And I used to lay in bed and wish that I could get my hands around the neck of whoever thought of 3-a-day practices. I was like, who thought of this nonsense, man?
Right.
But of course, it was just mind games because the middle practice was really just special teams.
Yeah. Okay.
It was just special teams,
Okay.
But they kept us there. They kept us on the grind. But that first week would be the longest week. And oh man, because after 3 days you have 9 practices down.
Yeah, that's right.
That's right. A lot of practice. That's a lot of practice, and it's hot. Clemson, South Carolina. And
no shade.
Oh man, we thought Danny Ford had a secret line to the man upstairs because it would be days it would be raining in the stadium. And it wouldn't come across the street. Oh, that used to hurt. But you talking about some hurt feelings. Listen, honest to God truth, we would be standing on the practice field looking across the street, and it's raining in the stadium. Not one drop will fall on the practice field. Oh, boy, some hurt souls, man. Some hurt souls, I'm telling you.
I know how that feels too, for real.
Yeah.
Especially on a hot day, man. For
so
real.
close.
Man, and then when you
Yes,
put
sir.
pads on and it's time to go,
extra. Yes.
man, and that defense, we had a physical defense.
Oh
and
yeah.
They come get you. So
Damn.
so it was tough. We had to get ready and go, but it made us teams knew when they played Clemson that it was going to be a physical game.
That's
And
right.
we took pride in that. Offensively, defensively, special teams, you knew you was going to be for a fight. It was going to be a physical contest. No doubt about that.
That's right.
So, how many bowl games did you play in during your era?
We played in 2 bowls because the first 3 years was when the probation hit.
Okay.
Oh,
So, and as a matter of fact, the first 2 years we were 9-1-1. So we would have been right back in the Orange Bowl.
Yep.
But those seniors, talking about Terry Kennard, William Devane, Johnny Rember, those guys voted to give up their senior year so that probation could take effect. Man. And, the younger guys coming in wouldn't lose our sophomore, junior, and senior year of going to a bowl. That was how special those guys were. So when you talk about, family and culture and guys just being unselfish, those guys gave up an awful lot. Those guys gave up an awful lot.
Mm-hmm.
So we went to the first bowl we went to was the Independence Bowl.
Okay.
Which we didn't want to go to that bowl.
You didn't want to go?
No, man. The team, we were mad.
Better
The
than,
team didn't want to go.
Yeah.
Coach Ford tricked us. My guys. He told us, Ray Williams will tell you, we had a team meeting. Coach Ford said, guys, I'm going to let you vote. Let us know how you feel. And we was like, Coach, we don't want to go to an Independence Bowl. That's not our standard. Coach Ford exited the room with the other coaches, came back. Fellas, we going to the Independence Bowl. Man, look. We went to Shreveport, Louisiana, man. It rained every day. It was cold. Oh my goodness, man. Look. So and then we came back the next year and had a share of the ACC was 8-2-2, and we played Stanford in the Gator Bowl. So that was for me, Kenny Flowers, Terrence Flaglar, had some other guys on the team from Florida, James Coley, who was from Jacksonville as well. It was a chance for us to come back home and play in our home state, and right here. So it was fun. It was good for us.
Yeah. So 2013, you entered the Clemson Hall of Fame, man. How was that? That's big.
That was a great honor, and especially to go in with Ray Williams, who was my roommate.
All right. Yeah.
My first year at Clemson.
That's special.
We roomed for a while, and Ray was the guy that called and let me know, and that was special to go in with him. A lot of memories, and you guys know Ray was a bad boy himself. So
that's my boy right there. What's up, Ray?
Yeah, that was a great honor. That was a great honor to
shout out
be
to Ray.
in Clemson's Hall of Fame. That was a great honor.
Up, man.
Yeah, very proud of that.
That's how you go out.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. So you leave a great tradition in Clemson, a number one program, right now, years later. You head into the draft, first round, 25th pick,
That's right.
The 1987 draft. You go to the 49ers with Joe Montana and Roger Gray. Tell me, how's your first day at work?
First day at work in the huddle right after the draft, and they have rookie camp and then OTAs. And it didn't really hit me until the middle of summer, to be perfectly honest with you. And I remember the day distinctively because we practiced. The first practice facility we had was in Redwood City, and it was like at a park, and they had the gate up and so forth. But we, the background, the hills, the mountains, man, it was very scenic. And I just remember one day being in the huddle, and Coach Walsh blew the whistle because the defense had to make a substitution. So I stepped back out of the huddle for a second because I wanted to make sure I had the play right.
Mm-hmm.
And because you don't want to make any mistakes, right?
Nah, you don't.
Because I'm trying to impress the guy.
Not alone.
Yeah, I'm trying to impress the guy. So, and so it's a lot of verbiage and everything that's thrown at you. But I remember looking at Joe Montana and just looking at him, and I looked at Roger and Dwight Clark, DC, God bless him. He's no longer with us, but he was from Clemson, was on that team, made the catch.
Yep.
Jerry Rice, Keith Farnhorst, Cross, on the offensive line. The other first-round draft pick with me that year was Harris Barton, who was from North Carolina. But I just remember looking at Joe and looking at Roger and looking at DC and looking at Jerry and saying, wow. And tight end was all pro that came in from New England Patriots.
Okay.
Russ Francis. I don't know if you guys remember Russ. So I had to step back from the hole again to catch my breath for a second. I was like, wow, And I look over on the defense, and there's Ronnie Lott, Keena Turner, Eric Wright, Charles Haley, Michael Carter, Carlton Williamson. I'm like, okay, this is what it's about. This is I'm here.
That's
I remember that. I'll always remember that. That was a great feeling. But that first day, or that was one of the first days of practicing, and that was an introduction to the NFL, being in the huddle with those guys, the coaching staff we had, and understanding from the onset what the expectations are. I mean, Bill Walsh used to always have a saying that it was always important to keep your team near the top of the mountain.
That's right.
So everything, how we worked, how they draft, the whole thought process was the expectations is not just to make the playoffs. We're competing for a Super Bowl. So, when you come into that facility every day, you have to be dialed in. Great. But, it was the same as Clemson, right?
Yep.
Our expectations was to win the ACC.
Yep.
It wasn't to be in second. It wasn't just to go to a bowl. The expectations was to win the ACC, coming into Clemson off of the national championship year. Danny Ford was the youngest head coach to ever win a national championship. Great players on that team. I think that defense, my first 2 years, had 9 guys to go to the NFL. So,
wow.
I was accustomed to being in that atmosphere, but just being in the huddle and being on the field with guys that I was sitting in Malden Hall watching on TV,
Yeah.
Had to take a step back for a second.
Cool. So, hey, KJ.
Yeah, how was it watching Jerry Rice, man? So close.
Jerry, Jerry and Joe, what you saw on TV on Sundays and Mondays was what we saw in practice every day. And that's it's hard to put that in words except just to say that. That's what we saw every day. I can remember days when Joe would come to practice and we would have 7-on-7. It was not uncommon for Joe to go 20 of 22.
Wow.
I mean, I'm serious. 20 of 22. It was not uncommon to see that. I remember we had to play halfback option where if it was man, you automatically broke out. And if it was a zone, you automatically turned in. And I remember Joe telling me, and of course, rookie.
Oh, yeah.
He says, hey, listen, he's told me, so I'm going to be eyes for you. If it's a zone and both linebackers are coming in from both sides, I'm going to sit you down. I'm going to put it right in your stomach.
Right. Yeah.
If you have pressure coming from your left, I'm going to put it on your right shoulder. If it's coming from your right, I'm going to put it on your left shoulder. And I'm like, yeah, right. Okay. All right. Let's run the play. Yeah, let's go. Right.
Let's go.
And sure enough, that's exactly what he did. You know, I mean, in my eyes, in my opinion, the most accurate passer to ever play. I think him and Troy Aikman were the two most accurate passers I've ever seen.
Wow.
But I saw Joe do it every single day, and Troy as well. But Joe just, on the big stage, he was never rattled. I mean, really what you saw in practice, we saw on Sundays every single day. And the same with Jerry, a perfectionist.
Yeah.
He ran routes like no one I've ever seen.
Smooth,
and we used to ask our running back coach, Coach Lewis, hey Sherm, give us a break when the DBs and the wide receivers do one-on-one so we can peek. You know, we want to go over there and see who Jerry was gonna grind up today, right? And you know, we had a DB named Tim McKyer, and Tim used to always talk noise to Jerry. You know, how he was gonna lock him up, and every day Jerry would just, man, JR would spin him around, and oh man,
make him look bad.
Oh man, we used to be like, look, soon enough you're gonna leave this man alone, right?
Yeah, man.
It was something to see. It was something to see. You know, those guys were really set the tone.
Cool. That's cool.
So I have a clip right here, man, of the Super Bowl season, and you guys went and played against the Bengals in this one right here. So you got some highlights there. Let's go ahead and check it out real quick.
All right.
You don't want him to sing for your team because
every time I pick a team and I do the anthem, I lose.
Yeah, they've always lost.
In the locker room, Bill Walsh was preparing for the big game the way he always did.
I took a little nap. If you want to demonstrate to the players you're totally at ease and totally relaxed and ready to go.
Walsh's adversary in Super Bowl 23 would be his longtime friend, Sam Weish.
I'm so nervous I just wet myself, and don't do the other.
Weish had been an assistant on Walsh's original 49ers staff and helped groom a young quarterback named Joe Montana. In a wild Super Bowl, Montana tied the game at 13 early in the fourth quarter.
And right at the touchdown, 49ers. That's another great throw by Montana.
3:38 is the time remaining, so it'll be about a 40-yard attempt.
The Bengals regained the lead on a Jim Breach field goal.
Long enough, and it is and with 3:20 left to go, the Bengals take a 16-13 lead.
Walsh would have to go the distance for the win. The 49ers' last drive started on their own 8-yard line.
The 49ers have a long way to go. Montana back to throw on first down. Throws over the middle. Completes it to Craig. Craig is to the 16.
That was Joe Montana at his best.
Montana again is back to throw. A little dunk over the middle. Caught by John Frank, and that'll be a first down.
Montana with a first down. Two receivers near side. Joe back to throw. Steps up. Throws. Out here for Rice. He has it. Midfield goes out of bounds. Two wide receivers near side. Montana to throw. Completes it up the middle to Craig.
At one point, Joe looked at me and gave me a timeout signal, and I waved him off. I didn't want to take a timeout there. And he did it again. I waved him off. I had no idea he was hyperventilating.
Montana trying to drive him the length of the field here with the game in the balance. 16-13, the Bengals lead. Montana back to throw. Throws over the middle. A 5-catch by Rice. Rice into the 20. He's down to the 19 for a first down.
We were all extensions of each other. Everyone had different roles they had to play.
52 seconds remaining.
And that whole drive, we were just an extension to each other.
He completes it to Craig. He's down to the 10. 49ers will have to take a timeout.
With 39 seconds remaining, Walsh called 20 halfback curl X up. It was the last play he would call as coach of the 49ers.
At the 10-yard line, 39 seconds remaining. Back to throw Montana. Steps up, throws. Touchdown, 49ers! Taylor has it for the touchdown. A 10-yard pass. The 49ers have scored with 34 seconds remaining. Montana to Taylor for 10 yards, but they went 92 yards in 11 plays.
The ball game is over.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, well, he done left us. Where you go?
He here. He dropped off and came back on.
Am I back?
Yes, sir.
I'm good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you back.
I was watching. That's a great memory. I remember when Cincinnati scored, everyone on the sideline looked up at the clock, and there was no panic. Everyone felt like, they left Joe too much time. Honest God, there was no panic. When Cincinnati scored, we all looked at the clock and we just said, they left him too much time. They gave us too much time.
Yeah.
That's when you have those great quarterbacks, the best of the best.
Yeah.
Why those guys are so rare and so important.
Mm-hmm.
Right? I guarantee you, if you talk to Dabo Swinney, Coach Swinney, and you ask him, was there any anxiety when Deshaun Watson had to take us down the field?
That's right.
I'll guarantee you, everyone on that sideline said, we got the right guy.
That's right.
We have the right guy. And that's
going to do it for us.
Exactly. That's why those quarterbacks are so hard to find. Everyone tries to get them. Yes. That's what they give your football team.
So you win your first Super Bowl. Talk about that feeling after the touchdown, John Taylor.
It was unreal. It was unreal. It was like, man, because you think about doing the warm-ups, that this is the Super Bowl. You see all the TV cameras and you hear the different translations in different languages, and you realize you're about to be on the world's biggest stage. And then afterwards, you win. And for me, I was thinking about how many great players that played in NFL that weren't fortunate enough to win a ring, right?
Uh-huh.
And for me to be on a Super Bowl winning team my second year in the league, a team that was loaded, and with the staff we had, that was just a great feeling, a tremendous feeling.
Wow, great, man.
Yeah.
So you go into the next season. Are you still with the 49ers or are you with Dallas?
No, I'm with San Francisco.
Exactly. And, you go back to the Super Bowl again.
Right. We go back to back, and that was the whole goal. I remember first OTAs, first workout, when we all got together as a team. Ronnie Lott and Joe Montana were the unquestioned leaders of the team. And I remember Ronnie.
Oh, tough player right there, man.
Oh, yeah. Ronnie stood up and told everyone after the first practice. He said, hey, guys, listen, forget this about not talking about going back to the Super Bowl. That's our goal. We're going to talk about it. We're going to put it out there. That's how we're going to work. That's the expectations. We're the defending Super Bowl champions, and we're going back to win it again. We knew we had a talented team. And so that was the mindset the entire offseason. We're going to get it again.
Great.
All right.
Hey, didn't Ronnie Lott, didn't he break his finger or something and went back in the game?
The story you're talking about, that happened, I think, right before I got there.
Oh, right before. Okay.
Where Ronnie had dislocated his ring finger.
Oh, ring finger. Okay.
I think it was his ring finger, and he would have missed. Happened near the end of training camp, preseason.
Oh, okay.
And he would have had to miss, I think, like 6 or 8 games back then with the surgery they had to perform and so forth and so on. So legend has it that Ronnie asked the doc, do I need it? And the doctor said, well, you can play without it. And Ronnie said, okay, we'll take it off. Wow. So he took off the tip. He took off the tip of his finger. Yeah, he was a different type dude, man.
Yeah, he was, man.
Yeah, some days we'd be in practice and Ronnie would, have that look in his eye, and you'd be like, okay, Ronnie knows we in practice, right?
We in no game, man.
Right?
We in no game. It's practice.
Yeah, Ronnie had that look, man. I was like,
you about to headhunt somebody.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, somebody gonna get it today. Somebody gonna get it.
Yeah, somebody. Hey, I seen him give it to somebody too. You know, and we were a veteran team, and we rarely went in pads. During my years at San Francisco, we rarely went in full pads.
Wow.
Complete contrast from Danny Ford's practice, right? Yeah. But we rarely went full pads because it was a veteran-laden team. Everyone knew what the expectations were.
Okay.
Coach Walsh and the staff was very adamant about assignment football. If the route was at 5, be at 5, not 6, not 4, at 5. Get to your depth, understand your assignments. It was very, it had, mental. If you couldn't handle it physically, those things would take care of itself. But they wanted to make sure that you understood mentally what to do. And the goal for all skill guys, or the rule, was once we touch the ball, you sprint 20 yards. Because we didn't do conditioning after practice. So our conditioning was during practice. Offensively, same defensively, take your angles. But we had a receiver that came in. I can't remember his name. After he left San Francisco, I remember him going to Cincinnati, and he had played some years with the Bengals. But, he first couple of days, he would catch the ball and shut it down. So the second practice, Ronnie came up to him and said, "Hey, man, sprint." And he pointed to Jerry. He said, "You see number 80? If he can sprint, you going to sprint." So when he came back, everybody else told him, said, it might be in your best interest to sprint. It's like, you might want to do that. You might want to do that.
Okay.
You might want to do that. So listen, fellas, and we were in just helmets. We weren't in shoulder pads. We weren't anything. We was just in helmets.
Mm-hmm.
Guy caught the ball, crossed the middle, did the same thing. Took a few steps, shut it down.
Oh, wow.
All of a sudden, you saw this red 42, a blur, come out of nowhere and just depleted him.
God.
Depleted him, knocked his helmet off, man. Stood over there, I said, "Sprint." And everybody was like, "Ooh." Hey, young fella, that was a valuable lesson he learned. Because that was my second or third year there. But by that time, I had an understanding. I knew that if Ronnie came to you and said, you better sprint, it'd be in your best interest to sprint. So, hey, homeboy, he figured it out that day, right? But and then after that, after the sternum got right, they traded him to Cincinnati. He got traded or released, but that was the culture, the expectations. They told him to sprint, man. He didn't want to work, so
he got to go.
He had to go, man. That was one of those camp stories, man. Homeboy, his helmet went one way, his feet went up in the air. That was a terrible thing, man. Better him than me, though, right?
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Most definitely.
Catch on to that part.
All right.
Yeah.
So we got a clip right here from the Super Bowl that year. Shout out to Ronnie Lott for setting the tone for that season, okay?
And you remember against Cincinnati, he set the tone early in the game. You remember Ickey Woods with the Ickey Woods shuffle, right?
Shuffle, yeah.
Yeah, he would do the shuffle. So all, Super Bowl festivities and everything, guys going out. So Ronnie happened to be at a club, some of the guys where they had, hosted Super Bowl teams, and, they had 49ers and Bengals there at the club in Miami. So, the DJ asked Ickey to come out on the stage or whatever and do the Ickey shuffle. that was the best thing for us because that's all Ronnie talked about the next day in practice.
Yeah.
So we knew it was going to be a collision. One, because Ronnie was upset, and number two, because he told us. He said, "I'm gonna knock him out.
Oh,
First chance I get,
I'm gonna get him."
We gonna see if he gonna do the icky shuffle after I hit him." Hey, true story, man. So early in the game, he's running the off tackle to the left, and when he plants his outside foot and turn up in the hole, he runs into Ronnie Lott, man. And yeah, and Ronnie, needless to say, all forward momentum on Icky's part ceased. Stopped right then. And we was like, well, yeah, that's pretty much how that was gonna go. So Icky didn't do too much dancing the rest of that night, man. So, yeah.
Shout out to Ronnie Lott. We're going to go into this clip right here for the Super Bowl season, your second year with the 49ers. Check it out right here.
Before the start of Super Bowl 24, Tom Rathman delivered an impromptu speech.
We know we're the best team. Let's just go out and prove it today. We got to play hard, play within your limits. Let's go out and kick some out of here. Black 59 Razor! Black 59 Razor! 49
On the 49ers' opening possession, Jerry Rice landed a telling blow by surviving one.
The thing that we had noticed about the safeties, they didn't wrap up. They tried to deliver the blow. Atwater tried to unload on me, and I was able to bounce off that and score a touchdown.
They were a pretty good defense. I had the fewest points scored against them throughout the regular season. Fewest points scored against them, and we put up 55 points.
Launches it for the end zone. Jerry Rice.
Everything was just as sharp and as precise as I could ever imagine.
Perfect pass to Jerry Rice.
There were times when I would look and I'd be in awe myself of some of the things that they were doing. Think about Joe and the precision with which he did everything. You don't see that. I don't know if I've seen it since.
On a rare play when Montana was off target, Rathman made a sensational catch, setting up the first of his 2 short yardage touchdowns, an achievement that left him unfazed.
A lot of people say, "Oh, what was it like scoring a touchdown in the Super Bowl?" Nah, I don't know. I mean, just another play. It wasn't that important to me to score a touchdown. I mean, I could have been throwing a block on a play. I mean, the bottom line is win and win as a team.
Throws for the end zone. Taylor! Touchdown 49!
With a Super Bowl record 5 touchdown passes, the choice of an MVP was as simple as a 1980s dot matrix printout.
Joe Montana could very well be his 3rd Super Bowl MVP award. The 49ers have brought the quality of football in the NFL to really a new level.
What I remember from the Super Bowl, you got grown men, and it's just like we are little kids again. You know, you see the tears, and you see everybody just hugging each other. You see the coaches, and you see the owner just running around like a little kid.
Damn you. Congratulations for everything.
That's something I'll never forget.
Yes, sir. We back.
Yes.
So you went to your second Super Bowl. You blew out the Denver Broncos 55. I can't remember what the score was. They said it. So talk about the part you played in that and how that feeling was to have 2 rings back to back.
Well, to be honest with you, our focus the entire year was we knew if we stayed healthy,
that's right.
We would we felt like we'd win. And that was back before free agency. I think some of that was just starting what they call Plan B back then. But we were deep, we were talented. It was easier back then to stockpile your team loaded up, you know. And you think about it, you know, Steve Young was the backup, another Hall of Famer, you know. And we had an excellent game plan. We thought Denver no disrespect to them. They had a great team, great quarterback, but we thought their defense was tailor-made for us. How they played a lot of cover 2. And sometimes they had those big safeties, Atwater and DS 49, Dennis Smith out of USC. Those guys would knock you out now. They'd say hello to you. Both of them was like 6'3", big guys. But they weren't great cover guys.
Okay.
So we really felt like we could take advantage of that. Of course, with Jerry, John Taylor, and our tight ends, the way we played, and our offensive line knew if we gave Joe time,
make a play.
It'd be difficult. It'd be difficult for him. So we jumped out on him early, and again, our defense set the tone. Ronnie Lott, and we had another safety, Chet Brooks.
Okay.
They had some hits on Denver's wide receivers early in the game.
Yeah.
And those guys later on, you could see it was alligator arms.
Yeah, that's what I'm about to say.
They
want to catch it.
Yeah, John Elway's was out there by himself for a minute. Those guys weren't too anxious to get hit, so we took the steam out of them early, and we got up on top and kept it going. That was just a great feeling. That was a great feeling. The culmination of the entire season, because our focus, off-season, training camp, everybody was dialed in. I mean, we played at a championship level really the entire season.
Man, that's unbelievable. Man.
Yep. So you leave 49ers, you go to Dallas for one season, then you go back to the 49ers, correct?
Yeah, I was traded to Dallas. Mm-hmm. And then, of course, they drafted Emmett.
Yep.
And me and Jimmy Johnson didn't get along too well.
Oh.
Yeah, it was a difficult adjustment for me at first, because coming from San Francisco, we didn't, like I said, we never hit. And at Dallas, everything we did was hit. And things kind of went south for me. The first week of training camp, I was the only healthy running back. Emmett wasn't in camp yet. He was holding out.
Wow.
All other running backs went down. So after each practice, we had to run sprints. And if you didn't make the time,
you got to do it again.
That whole group had to go again.
Yeah.
So I remember going to Coach Broski, who was the running back coach. And I knew him because he was at Miami when they recruited me in high school.
Okay.
So I went to him and I asked him, I said, "Hey, Coach, can you hold me out of sprints?" I said, because my hamstrings are killing me. Yeah. I had just took every rep in practice for a day and a half. Every single rep. That 7-on-7 inside run, team. I was done. And Coach said, no, he thought I was out of shape, Coach Johnson. And we had a bit of an exchange, which wasn't the best thing. So that led to my departure from Dallas.
Okay.
Yeah.
You went on.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
You went there, you left and went back to San Fran, and then you went to Phoenix, correct?
Right, yes. Yeah, played with the Cardinals with Roy Jetstream Green and those guys, Ken Harvey, Tim McDonald, who later went to San Francisco, right? T-Mac, that was a great time with Joe Bugle, learned about the game, made some great friends. Had a chance to play with Dexter Manley. I don't know if you guys remember Dexter Manley.
Yeah.
Man,
yeah.
One of the nicest guys I ever met.
Okay.
And Dexter had some of his issues with substance abuse, but glad he got that together. But he's really one of the nicest guys. And I just remember seeing him when the Cardinals brought him in.
Okay.
I go in the weight room, walking through the weight room, going to the locker room. And this guy has 405 on the bench, and he's repping it. He did like 6 reps. I'm like, Jesus Christ, man. Dexter was coming off of a year's suspension, and he was still, I think, him and Lawrence Taylor were the best rushers in the game. Even when he came off of suspension, he was that good, that dynamic, that great, should I say. Coming off a year's suspension, he still got double teamed.
Exactly.
That's the respect. And this guy ran like a sprinter. I mean, Dexter Manley was unbelievable. Unbelievable. But I was fortunate enough to form a bond with him at the time, because I think he looked at it a little different. He had won a Super Bowl, I think 1 or 2 with Washington.
Yep.
And I won 2 with San Francisco.
San Francisco. Yep.
And so somehow he just took a liking to me and Roy.
Okay.
And so I remember he was going out. He told me and Roy to meet him at I think it was, you guys seen Houston's, the restaurant Houston's?
Yeah.
They have this, Houston's. Yeah. Great food. But anyway, he wanted us to go out with him just to make sure he doesn't, venture away.
Yep.
So it was funny. I remember they come take your order. So the waitress says, well, do you guys want anything to drink? Dexter says, yes, I'd give me some Perrier water, but put it in a wine glass. I got a reputation. He said, give me some Perrier water, but put it in a wine glass, man. I cracked up. I said, man, you something else,
Yeah, that's funny, man.
Oh, man, he was a character, but a beautiful guy, though. A beautiful man, And so happy for him, but great player.
Any other teammates that were real close that you still stay in contact with in the NFL?
Every once in a while, I'll reach out to Keena Turner. And Keena was very instrumental my first couple of years. Took me under his wing.
Okay.
He was one of those guys that the core of the 49ers. 5 rings. Just a great guy, great, very cerebral, still involved in the team, the organization. Him, Guy McIntyre, the great lineman that played at Georgia, reach out to him a little bit.
Okay.
And Darryl Pollard, that played cornerback, DP, he still lives in the Bay Area.
Okay.
Our paths has crossed a few times, and we keep in touch, Facebook and whatnot.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah. As
So
far as NFL.
Let the people know what you're doing now, man. What type of work you got going on now?
Past few years, I've been coaching high school football and living down in Duval County, Jacksonville, Florida, coaching and enjoying that. And it's great giving back to the game. Hoping, one day, still haven't given up college dreams, coaching in college one day. So that would be great,
Okay.
So just love it. It's just something about Saturday afternoons, Saturdays and Sundays,
That's right.
I saw a clip with you on the sideline with Derrick Henry.
The big fella, yeah. We in 2000, I think it was 2018, Todd Bowles doing his tenure with the Jets.
Yep.
I was fortunate enough to he brought me in for an internship.
Okay.
Stump Mitchell, who is now the running backs coach and run game coordinator with Cleveland. Well, at the time, Stump was the running back coach at the Jets. Stump grew up at Camden County High School, which is right across the state line, right across the state line from Ferndale Beach. I've known Stump since I was in high school. So
okay, cool.
I think that clip was from an internship, the first game when the Jets played Tennessee Titans. Okay. And Derrick was, of course, with Titans. And I just remember him being in the huddle during the game. And one of the guys on the Jets sideline said, he's the biggest one in the huddle. We was like, yeah, he is, isn't he? Looked like a tight end. He's a big man. I mean, oh, Jesus Christ, man. He's something. He's something. And as a matter of fact, I was coaching at his high school for 2 years. The high school he went to, Yulee High School.
Okay.
I coached there for 2 years, man. He's large shadow, great guy. Comes back and involved. He has Derrick Henry Foundation giveaway where he gives all the kids, backpacks, bikes,
Yeah,
does
man.
a lot of charitable work. Just a great guy. Great guy. Yeah. So that was one of the first times I met the big fella.
Yeah.
All 245 pounds. 6'3", 245 pounds, man. You see those highlights where he's stiff arming people. I don't know why those DBs try to go up in that big man's chest.
I don't know why
what's up with that.
You got to be a lot smarter.
For real.
Yeah,
you
man.
Be a lot smarter than that.
Yeah.
You catch a concussion hitting that.
No doubt.
Turf like that with a stiff arm.
No doubt.
But where do people can find you at, Terrence? Where do people can find you at on social media? Some of your fans that haven't seen you in a while. I know you got Facebook. You have Instagram as well.
Yes. So you can look me up, Facebook. For a long time, I didn't have social media, right? And I have a lot of nieces and nephews. So a lot of my family's down in Orlando.
Okay.
So a few years ago, I was down in Orlando at a function, and one of my nieces, was asking me, and it was telling me some things. And I said, "Yeah, I missed that one. I didn't hear about that." And she said, "Well, yeah, Uncle T, if you get Facebook, you'd be up on some stuff, know what was happening." So I said, "Well, let me get that." So when I got social media, man, then I was able to reach out and start hooking up with some more people, and then Clemson fans, how we run deep. So I get a lot of requests from the Clemson fans, and all the Tiger Nation, right? So
they love you, man. They love you.
Yeah, man. Yeah, it goes both ways. I reciprocate that, man. I love those people too. All family.
Any shout outs you want to give before we head out?
Man, just shout out to the whole Tiger family, but especially Ray Williams, my man. I saw he tuned in. That's my guy. Let me tell you guys a brief story right quick. I think I told you guys about it, man. First walked in the room with Ray, we came off the Clemson national championship team.
Yep.
I hear about Kenny Flowers down in Daytona, All-American. I knew about Steve Griffin, All-American tailback player of the year in North Carolina. Came out of South Mecklenburg. Mm-hmm. And David Barnett, player of the year in South Carolina. And 2,000-yard rusher, and Stacy Driver. It was 5 of us. Mm. But I'm like, I didn't hear about a running back, Ray Williams. But I go in the room, and Ray took a picture of himself, and he had it on a Sports Illustrated cover.
Wow.
So now my mind is going, I'm like, who is this guy? I'm like, man, who is Ray? So I'm trying to figure it out. I'm like, man, who is Ray Williams? I know about Drive, I know about Flowers, Barnett, Rodney Quick came in from down Charleston area. I knew about all the backs. I'm thinking, I missed one. Maybe this guy signed late. We go to the meeting, and then he goes to the receiver room, and then he tells me, "Hey, Roomie, I got you, man. You can get your picture on the Sports Illustrated too. You just go to Carowinds." Go to Carowinds amusement park. He let me think for a whole week, man, that he was on the cover of Sports Illustrated, man. That was
good.
Ray, man.
He was something else, man. Ray's a cat.
What's up, man?
Yeah,
man. So you got any special words, anything for an athlete about to graduate college or high school, trying to chase their dream, try to make it to the next level and whatever they're doing? What's your message to that athlete?
My message to those guys would be, just work as hard as you can. Learn as much as you can, stay humble, and embrace the grind, embrace competition. Right. And each day is a process. Each day there's a learning process. Embrace that. Mm-hmm. And it's a beautiful journey. Oh, yeah. And all you can do is give your best. If you give your best, things will take care of itself. But don't shy away from it. Attack it. Go after it.
That's right, man.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You got anything you want to add? All right, cool. So you guys have just tuned into another edition of Sports Shop 27. I'm your host, Jermaine. We'd like to thank special guest Terrence Flaglar for coming in, All-American, All-ACC, 2-time Super Bowl champion, and also our host, Kevin Johnson, KJ. Until the next time, you guys wear your mask. Be safe out there. Don't forget to shop with us at our sports apparel shop on the shop button at Facebook, and also follow us on Spotify and Deezer and YouTube. All right. Until next time, y'all stay tuned. Be safe. Peace.
Peace. Go Tigers.